let's go to Arthur. So, Arthur, here's the question. What color is available for a luxury car, but not one that would necessarily you would buy or that I would buy, if you're reading my mind, because it would not sell and have the residual value of a platinum or a silver or a charcoal or whatever?
Hey, Bobby, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing marvelous, and I know the color that you're talking about. And in fact, back in the day, this color used to get the most speeding tickets on the highway.
You're right. So that color is
red.
That is. You're so right. Now, and what I really couldn't understand is you're the first person that's guessed that, including my team here. I mean, Fabio guessed. What color did you guess, Fabio? He guessed green. Jan guessed pink. Well, I go figure. And Jonathan guessed brown. And what is so odd about this is because as I was saying, Arthur, last evening at a party, a friend of mine was looking at an E-Class Mercedes, late model used or new, and she just insisted on buying a red car.
Big mistake.
Yeah, but she wants a red car. Knowing her, she's going to get what she wants. Having said that, now but at least there's some saving grace because she wants red with a fawn or a light tan interior, and I would agree with that versus a black interior or a plain black Jane interior. I mean, that would really be. But
the only thing, Bobby, that I hate to say that, I won't say big mistake, but if somebody really wants it and they know that they're going to keep it for a long time and they don't care about resale, then go for it.
Well, yeah, exactly. And that's what her husband and I came to the conclusion. So this morning before I came into the studio, I went online and looked for used Mercedes just so I could get a look, and I found a CLS. I think it was in Texas, Houston. Yeah, it was, and it was red with tan interior. And now my Viper is red, but even then I didn't want the tan interior. I got my Viper's red, but I didn't want black interior because that's what you see is a red Viper with black interior. And so I got what's called a tan or a lighter color. It's kind of a Corinthian color.
And that is very pretty. That's a pretty combination.
It really is. It's a great combination because I didn't want the typical. But you're so right on the red. But she's got to have the red. And it's just, what is it about red and luxury that you and I and obviously the market and has what do you have against red?
I don't have anything against it, but I mean, in my years, I'm 55 years old, and in my years, I've been watching cars and resale values, and I notice when I ride by a car lot, you always see a red car sitting there for a long period of time. And then I read that article about them being ticketed more than any other color. And when you came up with that question, I said it can't be anything but red because I haven't seen. The only time I see the red Mercedes is on the Mercedes commercial with Santa driving the one in the back.
Yeah, you're right.
I haven't seen many on the street.
And to that end, I advised, and that's all you can do is, she asked for my opinion, so I gave it to her. Right. But I did get her off of the E-Class onto the CLS because I think the CLS is one of the most gorgeous cars that Mercedes-Benz ever made. They call it the Coupe, and I know you're familiar. I assume you're familiar with that car.
Yes, I am. My wife purchased a CLS 250 in 2014, and she's really pleased with it. The only thing that I got embarrassed about was when I went to the Mercedes dealer after she had it about 3,000, 4,000 miles. I requested an oil change, and they laughed at me and said, "You must be old school because we don't change the oil unless it's 10,000 miles." And I said, "Really?" And he convinced me that that's the way they do it now.
Well, I don't agree with that. However, having said that, when I bought my Jag, I took it to the dealer for a recall at 6,400 miles, and I was going to go 7,500 on the first change, which is what I live by, 5,000 to 7,000. But 7,500 is where I reach that limit. And the dealer says they had a recall on the power steering and the navigation system and a power steering retainer washer. And they did that. And I said, well, while you've got it here, let's go ahead and change the oil and filter in it. And he said, well, it's not due. and not do it to 13,000 miles. I said, let me tell you something. I'm not driving this car 13,000 miles. I'll just change it myself. I just thought while it was here, and you're going to have the belly pan off anyway to get to the power steering, you would go ahead and change the oil and filter. And so on my way home, and they gave me a loaner to drive. On my way home, I get a call on my phone. He says, look, I talked to the service manager, and he said he's going to go ahead and do this oil change at 6,400, that he agrees with you, but don't tell anybody. It's more, that's what he said. So I would say on the oil change, 13,000 no, 15,000 no, and author, you can get by with those extended oil changes on the first batch or the second batch or the third batch, because every time you change oil, some old residual oil is left in the engine. I mean, that's just the way it is. So the lifters are full of oil, the galleys are filled with oil, so there's about 3/4 of a quart you cannot get out. So what that means is when you put in a new batch of oil, a new change of oil, that new oil is immediately polluted or diluted to a degree. So if you multiply that times 3 oil changes, for instance, let's say Porsche, 15,000 miles. You change it at 15,000, it's time, it's dirty. Then that next 15, remember the new batch of oil at 15,000, or in your case 10,000 oil. That oil is dirtier than the first batch, because the first batch was all new and the engine had never been run.
Good point.
You see, so but your second change at 20,000, you really have some dirty oil because you're not starting at the same starting point. It's all about getting behind, and that's why when you get toward the end of the warranty, or the end of whatever the end of means, it means 75,000 or 100,000 with some fluid changes. Like brake fluid. I mean, BMW will tell you to change brake fluid every 2 years. And the first Mini that I bought, which was red with a white a top and a two-tone gray interior, beautiful little car, I bought for my wife. I sent it up to Atlanta to have some warranty work done because it had a leaking thermostat housing, which was common. And while it was there, they performed a brake flush on that vehicle under warranty, because it was called for by BMW. I find that really interesting, because here we are in the automotive aftermarket talking about changing fluids, and people say, well, my new car says, like Ford, leave the transmission fluid for 150,000 miles. Great, but they only warranty the transmission for 50,000. So anyway, it's very interesting, but I'm going to put you back on hold, and you're so right. Red, although red is beautiful, red and luxury cars, 4-door luxury cars, will not retain the same value that that car will if it's silver or anthracite or black or white. So you and I are in lockstep there. So congratulations, author, and thanks for tuning in.